right, hello, friends. So we are back with another episode of the Beauty in the Network podcast. And today I have Miss Amanda Acuna. She is a holistic health coach, and she's also one of my very good friends. And I'm really excited to have her here on the podcast. So Amanda, she basically helps people with their digestion system to really help you increase your energy. I actually worked with Amanda for 6 months, and it literally has changed the way I grocery shop, how I set up what I'm eating in the day, in the afternoon, and at night. And before I start to ramble on, I would love if you can introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and how you actually became a holistic health coach.
Okay. I'm Amanda. So after a very long health history myself, overcoming Crohn's disease and other autoimmune issues, and I just kind of got fed up with normal healthcare. I think it was the second GI doctor who's like, "Oh, diet doesn't affect your digestive disease," and I was like, "What? This doesn't sound right." And so I went an alternative route, worked with a health coach along with a functional medicine practitioner, and they basically work with the root cause. As we're used to, a lot of it is just like a Band-Aid quick fix. So what I do now is help people kind of find the root cause and heal whatever issues they're working on. For complicated stuff, I've worked along with doctors. I just kind of bridge that gap between a doctor who can only spend 5 minutes with you and what you truly need. But for most people, I just kind of work with them to help them overhaul their health and of their families, because whatever we do, it's a ripple effect, everyone around us. Yeah.
Yes,
That's a short story.
Yes, I love it. I love it. It's a great summary. So one thing that you kind of mentioned is that you get to the root cause. And I know my audience, they hear me say root cause all of the time because you don't just want to put a band-aid over something. You definitely want to understand, like, okay, well, what is the real reason that I am feeling fatigue? Or what is the real reason that my business isn't working or my marketing isn't performing how I want it to perform? And once you actually get to the bottom of, oh, it's how I'm communicating, or oh, it's how my positioning is, or oh, it's because I'm eating gluten and gluten makes me feel sleepy, right? And the root cause is something that I found out for myself when I was working with Amanda, because I literally thought that I had fibromyalgia because maybe around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., I would just have a massive decrease in my energy. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Am I lazy? Like, am I pregnant? Like, what is going on? And I remember when I was working with Amanda, you were basically like telling me, like, hey, like, you are starting your day off with a lot of sweets, like Starbucks, frappuccinos, my strawberries, my fruit. I thought that I was starting things off great, but it was a lot of sugar. And then midday, I just had like this massive crash, and I'm like, what's going on? What's wrong with me? So I love that you kind of talk about bridging the gap with a doctor who is seeing multiple patients. They might not have enough time to spend one-on-one time with them, help them kind of rework a lifestyle change that makes sense for them. So for you, when you were making that shift, did you have any like roadblocks? Did you have any perspective shifts that really helped you when it came to curing your Crohn's disease? Let me know a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for me, it was like most people I work with, it's not as extreme as this, but for me, it really was like every single thing I'm touching and putting in my body is going to help me or hurt me. So it was like that huge mindset shift of like everything. Most people, you don't need to be as strict with that, but especially with Crohn's, it's like, yeah, I could eat. Like I was, oh my gosh, after I was 18 years old and doctors like, oh, diet doesn't affect Crohn's. What was I doing in the mornings on my way to the hair salon? I was a hairstylist for 9 years. Oh, I'd get 2 donuts and a coffee every single morning. And then I kept getting food poisoning, I thought. And I'm like, why am I getting food poisoning all the time? Yeah, no, it was Crohn's. So after seeing the functional medicine doctor, everything made so much more sense. It's like, there's a voice inside of you who, like, we can heal ourselves more than anybody. I'm simply just like a guide. I don't tell you what to do all the time. Like, it's not, I just guide you and help you figure out what you deeply know is making you unwell. Yeah. So I knew something was off, and they kind of helped me figure that, like, take those steps. But it really was as strict as like every single thing I'm putting in my body is going to help me or hurt me. And I was working in the hair salon, which environmental toxins are a part of everything as well. So I knew I had to really, really nail down the eating and lifestyle, stress, all of that, because I was still getting that little toxic load at work. So it was kind of doing what I could control and then letting go of the stuff I couldn't.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's a great approach because I feel like sometimes people will try and overdo it and
Yeah.
then they'll get turned off from it. Like that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I tried it. Versus kind of like tiptoeing your way into it. I like to say like do things in phases because it's easier to build upon a habit than try and cancel everything that you've been doing your
Yeah.
entire life and try and live a completely different way
Yeah.
that's new and foreign to you. So, yes, you mentioned that you were a stylist for 9 years. Amanda and I actually met in cosmetology school,
Yes.
um, which was
Way back when.
amazing, right? So, since a lot of the people who follow me, they are Bridal Beauty pros, maybe they are doing a lot of driving for on location weddings, or they are working in a full service salon, or they're just service based business owners. But either way, they are always on the go or in a hurry. So could you give us like maybe a quick tip or how many tips you want to give when it comes to what can people do when it comes to setting themselves up in the morning time? I know you kind of mentioned like you would have two donuts and some coffee, and
Yeah.
that sounds like my old
Most people.
routine, like my caramel frappuccino, my iced lemon loaf, and like some kind of
Uh,
donut. But what is a tip that you can give someone that can really help them set their day off to be on the best foot forward?
yeah. So the most important thing for everybody is to never leave your house without water.
Mhm.
And for many of us, it's water, a smoothie, a coffee, like whatever drinks you need that morning. But water, never leave the house without water and some kind of healthy snack. Even if it's like an apple or a prepackaged, like clean granola bar, read the ingredients. And if you never leave the house without water and something to fill your belly, you will never find yourself in a drive-through in a panic because your blood sugar is dropping and you feel like crap. But along with what you were saying, like what helped you so much was we also, like, typically Americans, we start our day with muffins and I don't know, just carbs, quick carb energy,
Big old
toast, whatever. Even oatmeal is really heavy carb. We need to balance that out with like seeds and nuts and stuff like that. If you start your day with protein, fiber, fat, you're going to be so much better off energy wise when it comes to that 2 p.m. that like and crash, especially if you're working all day. Another thing that I did when I worked in the hair salon when I didn't have breaks really is I would bring my smoothie in the morning for breakfast and then a protein smoothie type thing for midday. So if I didn't have time to eat, I could at least run in the back and chug that real quick
yeah.
just to keep going instead of like, oh, here's an M&M in the back counter. Let me just eat this and get my energy up again, like, or hey, someone's going to get coffee, go get me one. That way you're not, and starting your day with coffee. A lot of people really don't do well with that. It's normalized, but a lot of people don't do well with caffeine in the morning because of that dip. It's really, and it does affect your blood sugar as well. So water, green juice is wonderful for energy too.
Yes, I love
So
that.
good for energy.
Yes.
It's an acquired taste, but you love it eventually. I love
Right.
it. It's so refreshing.
Yeah, there's only a few green juices that I absolutely love, and other ones I'm like, this tastes too much like the earth, and I
Yeah,
cannot.
I like the earthy ones
Um,
too.
so one of the things, so you mentioned how you bring your water, you bring like a snack or a smoothie. So it sounds like you're being very proactive then versus being very reactive. And I feel like when it comes to I don't have enough time or the day got away from me, a lot of that is I don't want to say poor planning. It's the planning that you just haven't done yet. The planning that you
Yes.
haven't made time to do yet. And for me, I would always say, oh, well, I don't have time. I remember when I first transitioned from being like a freelance artist to working full time in my business, I found myself waking up, early, being on the computer all dang day long. And I would go to Starbucks, go to Burger King, or do something that was very quick because I felt like I didn't have time to actually go to the oven and make food and all of
Yeah.
those things. And I was just looking at your Instagram story this morning, and I saw that you were doing some meal prepping. And meal prepping is something that me and Matt, my fiance, have began to get a little bit more consistent with, because it saves us so much time. He wakes up now at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and me, whenever I wake up, my head is like, take the dog out, go over here, see what I have to do today. And it's great to just kind of go into, the fridge, make a little quinoa bowl, breakfast bowl, see what's already pre-made, some celery and some, peanut butter sticks or whatever it is. So when it comes to meal prepping and being very proactive when it comes to your food choices, was there a transitional period of you getting into meal prepping? Was it easy for you? Was it like in your blood? Or was it something that you really had to build a habit of?
Yeah, it was definitely not in my blood because I've like the meal planning thing. It's like some people do great. Like I'm working with a client right now. She does great with a meal plan. She just like Tuesday, I eat this, like that kind of thing. I don't because if I don't feel like eating that, I'm not going to eat it and I'm going to go get something else.
Mhm.
So then it kind of evolved to like lists of food ideas, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, like, and I still have one on my fridge and you just look at it and you're like, oh, I'm hungry. What should I eat? And, oh, here's an idea right here. And it's like already kind of done for you. But I have the thing about me is I have a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old. So I am always running around. And what has been incredibly helpful is not so much, I mean, I guess it is meal prepping, but it's not like Sunday I make my meals for the whole week. It's not like that. It's like you saw in my story this morning. What did I do? Last night I made granola. I make a nut and seed granola. More protein, more fiber, more fat in the mornings. Wonderful way to start your day if you want that cereal kind of crunch. I made granola last night. Today, this morning at like 8 a.m. I made pickled onions. It's random, but it's a condiment I love and on my avocado toast. So I had that. I made that this morning. It's just like little things here and there. If I make breakfast muffins, recipes on my website. They're really good, but a lot healthier than normal muffins and they taste good. And I will double or triple the recipe, freeze them. And then, hey, what am I going to eat? I'm starving. It's in my freezer. Like it's so you can freeze almost everything. So even just like little things like that. If you make double of a dinner once a week and freeze the extra, that's a whole meal in your freezer for a night you don't want to cook. And it's easier than going through a drive-through.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things that I'm really big on over here is sustainability. And a lot of the sustainability comes with gaining more of your time back. And I feel like a lot of times when we feel like meal prepping or, making smoothie or like going to the grocery store and getting all of these things, like there's so many things that can be outsourced, like Instacart, so many things
Yes.
that can really help us save time so that we can focus on the areas that we really want to spend time doing. And for me, just like we were talking about, just like meal planning and really like having the mindset of like, okay, should I do the whole week? Or should I just do like snacks for, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday? For me, a big mindset shift that really helped me when we were working together is when I'm making food, think, oh, okay, this is going to help me nourish my body. This is going to help me, nurse myself to health. This is going to, do amazing things for my immune system or my, whatever it is that I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to detox or whatever it is. And for me, that little shift really helped me get out of the, okay, well, let me hurry up and prep these veggies, or let me hurry up and, get
Yeah.
these fruits and make my smoothies, and just going through the day in a very reactive and like everything has to happen now kind of mood, and just getting back to the calmness and enjoying life and enjoying the process of just being alive, basically.
Yes.
So for you, you were talking about for one of your clients, it helps her to meal prep for the week. So what are some of the main benefits that you see some of your clients experience? And if you want to use me, you can use me too. But what are some of the experiences and benefits that some of your clients have actually gained when it comes to healthier, better, healthy choices with food that really helps their energetic levels?
Yeah. I mean, it really does. So most people I work with for 3 or 6 months, and it really helps because you're building those habits. So like those little habits throughout the day. I do want to touch on what you said about the energy thing. How instead of like thinking, oh, I have to do this, it's like, oh, I'm choosing to like that alone is healing, is that mindset shift. When we're stressed, that's so damaging to our cells. It causes disease. We know so much about that now. So just by choosing intentionally, you are kind of awakening the healing inside of you because you're nourishing your body, you're loving your body, you're doing all of that too. That is a huge part of it too. So like I don't only work on nutrition with clients who work on lifestyle stuff too, as you know, because that has a profound impact as well. But the benefits really are, it's just increasing energy and improving your digestion and overall feeling better. And when you feel better, you have that energy to cook. You have that energy where you want to do this because you know it makes you feel better. That's like the biggest impact on most people is like you here you are, what, 6 months later, maybe longer than that, maybe around there, 6 months later, and you're like still being intentional with your food and grocery shopping healthy places and like being aware because you feel so much better. It's not worth going back to the Burger King drive-through. I mean, you might do it every now and then, but you're going to regret it, like, so it's like, I know I feel better when I do this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And like, no lie, I definitely went to the McDonald's drive-through yesterday.
No one's perfect.
But today we have all of the fruit and veggies,
Yeah.
and things that can really help me. And one thing that you really said to me that really helped me is, you don't have to deprive yourself of these things. Just be aware of how it's going to make you feel so that you're mindful, like, oh my gosh, well, I woke up today and I have a migraine and I'm just feeling groggy and I don't know why. And you think that something is wrong, but really it's just because of how things are settling in your body. So I really love that. Also, something that I want to talk about, which kind of goes hand in hand, like just that mindset of I'm choosing to do this. I was talking to a babe in my Instagram stories, and she was talking about, she has her own business, and one of the things that she was saying is like she doesn't really celebrate herself. We can celebrate ourselves in so many ways. We can celebrate ourselves with a meal, a healthy meal, a smoothie, going on a walk, getting ourselves pampered. And she was talking about how she was getting maintenance done, like getting her hair, her roots done and getting her nails done. And I'm like, other than thinking of it as maintenance, like this is what I have to go do. I have to go get my roots done. I have to go get my nails filled in. It's like, look at what I get to do. Look at how I get to pamper myself. Look at how I get to spend my day focusing on me and filling up my cup. So I just wanted to kind of like tie that together. Just like you said, it's not just energetics with the food choices, it's overall lifestyle changes. And this is really one of the main reasons why I really wanted to shift the podcast and really have, people that aren't necessarily like in the bridal space. Of course, she said that she was a hairstylist for 9.5 years. But when she transitioned into really focusing on the health space, I knew that that was one of the pieces that I always put on the back burner, because when we're grinding and we're building our business, and especially if we're a beauty pro, we feel like, oh, well, I can rest when I do this. I can rest once I hit this goal. And sometimes that goal, we unknowingly push it back some more, push it back some more, and that goal never happens. And then, or the goal happens, but you're focusing on something else now, but we neglect ourselves. And one thing for me is I never want to have so much money in the bank account, but I feel like crap. And I can't even celebrate, the hard work that I've put into my business. So just to kind of like wrap up our conversation, definitely, if you haven't already, checked out the show notes so you can find Amanda on Instagram, website, her website, where she has some amazing recipes, like she mentioned. And I would love for you to just talk a little little bit about your Facebook community, because I know you're always talking about just mindful things that people can be aware of. Some things, I don't want to say TMI, but like the whole body, guys, the whole body that you really want to be mindful of, so that you can understand how your body is trying to talk to you and how you can actually listen to it. So I would love if you can kind of talk a little bit about what people can expect if they want to join your free Facebook community, and what are some other things that you talk about aside from like healthy choices. I remember you talked a little bit about like toxins and things like that. So tell them all of the things that you have to speak about over there.
Yes. So I'm on Instagram at Your True Peace, and then my Facebook group is called Your True Peace, just like that. It's just a small community. I post random studies that I find that are like mind blowing to a lot of people. Little tidbits like how artificial food dyes can affect kids and behavior, and environmental toxins, how important that is. Recently, I shared something about, there's a new documentary out that by the time this comes out, it's probably gonna be gone, The Business of Birth Control, but they might have another streaming event. But it's just like, there's some really cool free information things out there that are really, it expands our level of thinking, our consciousness. But yeah, come join me over on Facebook, Your True Peace. I post lots of like random recipes I make. On my website, I usually only post my own. So in that group, I'll be like, oh, I made so-and-so's recipe. It was delicious for veggie muffins. Like, they taste so good. And my 3-year-old loved them. Check it out.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But kind of like what you were saying, like we are in, like, society expects so much of us where it's like, go, go, go. It's almost a competition. Who can do the most? And that's not where we're supposed to be if we're not feeling ourselves. And that's what I love about what you do as well, because you're kind of teaching people to think outside the box. You don't have to work this normal job. You don't have to do this normal go, go, go grind, neglect yourself, live through the Burger King drive-thru. Like, you don't have to do that. There's just a lot of different ways of thinking when it comes to living in this society.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you said that, because when you are only surrounded by people who are operating in a certain way, you just think of it as the norm. And then when you hear somebody talking about toxins or food dyes, or you don't have to work every single Saturday or Friday, you're like, who is this crazy person talking about things that they don't know about? And it's like, no, come on over to this world, peek into the world, see what it's about, see if you like it. You can hang out a little bit, and if you like it, you can stay, right?
Yes.
So I love that you said that. And definitely, if you are interested in working with Amanda, she's definitely helped me a ton, just with how I view things, how I go about my day. My relaxation levels are definitely a little bit more zen, because I don't drink as much coffee anymore, because it messed with my anxiety that I didn't know I had. So, just being more mindful about these choices and how they can really help you. Definitely give Amanda a follow in the show notes. But thank you so much again for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Bye, friends.
Bye.